So you want to make a timer script. Timer scripts are very fun. You can do lots of interesting things with them. You could create a countdown for an explosion or a timer for a puzzle so that it resets if the player doesn't figure it out fast enough, or even your good old-fashioned survival scenario. Now, they're a little complicated, but not really. It's all just a matter of being able to visualize what your script is doing, which I feel is like kind of a thing with all kinds of programming. But anyway, before we get started, I want to talk about the key script function we're going to be using that makes timer scripts possible. So here is the key function that we're going to be using in our timer script, getSecondsPassed. Now all this function is it's a stand-in for a number. And according to the GECK wiki, a very useful site, it's how I know pretty much everything I know, returns the number of real-life seconds that have passed since this function was last called by the calling script. And what that means is, if our script says getSecondsPassed, at first it's just going to equal 0. But then the next time we call it, however many seconds later, it's going to equal that many seconds. So if we call it 5 seconds after, it's going to equal 5. If we call it 1 second after, it's going to equal 1. Now, if this is starting to click, you'll probably be starting to see how this is so important and how it works in a timer script. Well, if not, hopefully once we start implementing the script and talking more about it, hopefully it'll all start to click. So anyway, generally speaking, most of the time, when you want to use a timer script, the best way to implement it is going to be through a quest. So the reason for that is because it's very easy to control when a quest and consequently its associated script is and is not active. Like, all you have to do to start it is run a start quest function, and all you have to do to stop it is with a stop quest function. So it's very easy to manage that way. So let's go ahead and create a new quest object. And just a little fun fact here, little pro tip: whenever you make a new quest object, the only thing you should do at first is give it an ID and then close this window with OK. The reason for that is because the GECK is a perfectly fine program with no bugs at all, and it won't cause weird issues if you try to do anything else before closing out of the menu. So anyway, after you close it, bring it back up and go ahead and click this ellipses here, because we can access the script editor right here. And I am assuming you already know a little bit about scripting, so I'm not going to go through the whole process of actually writing the script, because I already wrote the script and I'm just going to copy and paste it here, and we'll talk about what exactly the script is doing and how it is doing it. So we have our float variable here, apples. Our script is game mode, so it's going to be running every frame. And here is the only thing the script is really doing. Set apples to apples plus getSecondsPassed. So if you were paying attention to the explanation of getSecondsPassed, then you should know that getSecondsPassed equals how many seconds have passed since it was last ran in the script. Now, because our script is game mode, that means it's always returning as 1. So I guess theoretically you could just put 1 here, I guess, which would make sense, but I don't know, that might cause issues if your game lags or something. It's best, there's no reason not to use getSecondsPassed here. So yeah, all this is doing is every second we are saying to apples plus 1. And the rest of our script is just a simple if statement. If apples are greater than or equal to 5, play the Cazador poison sound, and then set apples to 0 so we can start the whole timer system over again. That's optional, of course. It depends on exactly what you want your timer for. But, it's very easy to just create a loop like that. So really, this isn't even really a timer per se. It's more of a counter, but it's an automatic counter. Same as if you're making a script where you want to kill a certain amount of enemies. It's functionally the same. It's just that the counter is going up automatically every second, thanks to the getSecondsPassed function. Alright, so as a little bonus, let's demonstrate how we can use start and stop quests to activate and disable our timer all willy-nilly, because it's just, you don't want a timer running constantly, obviously, because then it's not really much of a timer. So our timer script, because it's a quest, we have the option to have it start game enabled. Obviously, we don't want to do that, so how do we get this on? Well, as I said, it's very simple to do with any kind of script that uses start or stop quests. So I have a little switch right there on this box. So let's just make a simple start quest, stop quest script. So we're going to go scn tut script timer switch, a very literal script name. Begin on activate. And I like to use the get open state function when it comes to using switch scripts. So if get open state equals 3, which means closed, and by default all activators are considered closed, start quest tut timer script, I think that's all I need, and else if get open state equals 1. Is it 1? Let me pull up the GECK wiki. GECK wiki, very useful. It's how I know 90% of what I know. Yep, 1 equals open. Stop quest tut timer script. And I think I actually need to put activate in there as well, so that it actually, you know, changes open states. And if end save, make sure we actually put our script on our timer switch. Tut. Here's a good example why having your little headliners on your object names is useful, because it's very easy to search out through the list. And we can check how this works in game and just show that everything we did is actually working. Okay, so here we are in hell. There's not much to see, but we do have the worst switch, and this switch should activate our timer. Now, our timer, of course, is not active because our timer quest is not active, so everything's all hunky-dory, but when we open this switch, our timer should start counting, and it should start doing its thing. So let's see. Ah, right on cue right there. Let's count it next time we hear the poison sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's a little off. It's a little hard to tell where exactly the timer is, but it more or less is 5 seconds. You can fine-tune the timing. Since we're using a float variable for apples, you actually can use non-whole numbers, so you could go like 4.7, 4.6 in order to get it just perfectly precise where you want it to be. So yeah, this is all there is to making a timer script, and if you've been following this tutorial, you have made the worst timer script imaginable, because for the rest of time it's just going to keep playing this Cazador poison sound. Isn't that amazing? But thankfully, if we hit the switch again, it should turn off, and you can go back to living a happy, carefree life, free of Cazador sounds every 5 seconds. So I hope this tutorial is useful. I'm not sure how much of a good teacher I was. This is the first time I've really made anything like this, but if you enjoyed, let me know, and I will probably make more in the future, because, you know, those who don't do teach, as they say. So yeah, hopefully this helped you, and goodbye.